This next post, I'm going to answer the many questions I received regarding the theft of my life's monies by this person right here. You see, she blocked me, Elizabeth Keatinge, a 16-year employee slash friend. Just a few weeks ago, she tried to remove my YouTube channel. She filed this thing, the privacy complaint by an individual regarding your content, and has all these links to my YouTube channel here. And they go on to tell me all about their guidelines and, their whole thing. Of course she wants my content removed because I post the facts. I show exactly what happened, that everything she has in her entire life, her apartment, her clothes, her food, her dinner, her first-class vacations, her shopping, her loser husband, it's all with my money. Money she stole from me. Google's lawyers reviewed the documents and ruled in my favor. I don't violate any guidelines. These are the facts. And this is what happened. Doing this post, I want to add this little tidbit. Anybody who steals from these creatures who have been so beat down already, and then it's just the assault in the wound, there's a special place in hell for her, and she's gonna pay an extremely high price. Okay, now I'm gonna answer the questions. First of all, remember, embezzlement is not a crime of hardship. It's a crime of greed. And you will see how particularly disgusting scumbag this is. I knew Elizabeth Keatinge for over 16 years. She knew my lifestyle very well. She had spent nights at my house here, saw how my birds are. She was here when I was filming with Animal Planet, when I was doing things with Dennis in New York. Every time I was in New York, I would contact her. She knew my drug habits. She knew my flaws. She really knew me well. That's Ron Jeremy. That girl next to Ron is she's really famous, I forgot, in the TV world. And that's Elizabeth Keatinge there, my good friend Dennis Hoff that passed away, and myself. Obviously, I really trusted her. And I knew her to be responsible, reliable. She graduated UCLA, and she was some kind of fancy sorority, and she was an English major. I had her handle small financial things in the past, nothing much. Maybe she was in LA and I needed money in Nevada, so I had $5,000 dropped off to her so she could get it to me. Just things like that, I trusted her, and I saw her as, I had her do, every time she did something for me, I paid her. So she benefited from our relationship. In many ways, she got to meet people like Mick Jagger, many famous people, I don't want to brag, many famous people, really cool experiences. She edited my book, Pandering, and my publishing company published her book, The Beverly Hills Tutor. I really want to give you a flavor for our relationship so you see why I had trust in her. And look at how this all started was I wanted her to do well, and it was going to be a property investment in Los Angeles between myself, Elizabeth Keatinge, and another girl, Jessica Steindorf. This is how this all started. So as you know, Bitcoin has been around a long time, since 2009. And I never really thought about it or paid too much attention to it because I'm not of that generation of the internet. In fact, I was in prison really when the dot-com boom came out. From 97 to 2000, I was in the federal penitentiary for women. However, when my father died, I knew I was getting money, and it's sentimental, special money. So I was thinking, how can I do something with this that matters? How can I make this money, achieve what I want to achieve with these birds? And I researched many things, a pistachio orchard, I'm gonna bore you with all of it. And I did start following Bitcoin. When Bitcoin was $300, I started following it. And I saw it go to 300, 400, 500, and then at 600. Still didn't know much about it. I knew it kept going up. So I bought a little bit. And I also told Elizabeth Keatinge, I called her Libby. I told Elizabeth about it. She didn't know what it was. And I would send her articles. I will show you proof of that now. Here's an article I sent her on 10/14/16, just some information about Bitcoin, so she could educate herself the same way I was and see the opportunity. At this time, I had already opened an account on Coinbase and started purchasing Bitcoins. And this is how naive I was. Remember, my priority in life, what comes first, is making progress with the birds that are in desperate need of help. That's my priority and my ultimate goal. And I need money to achieve this goal. Also keep in mind my struggles with addiction. Really, they do handicap me in many ways. And Elizabeth Keatinge is somebody in my circle for 16 years that I trust. When I would go do interviews and things like that, she knows I have a drug problem. She knows to carry my Kleenex, to have my water handy. She really knows my habits. And she always benefited. Every time she would come with me somewhere on these interviews, not only did I give her money, but some kind of fancy clothes, or there was always benefits. Or she was not going to keep doing it if she did not benefit. And I had received one installment of my inheritance in, I think, 2015, and then I got another installment in 2016. And I was very cautious with this money, and I really thought buying an income property in Los Angeles was the way to go. That was my belief. So I really believed that income property was the way to go. Hi, crazy. And we had a plan. Jessica Steindorf, Libby, that's Elizabeth Keatinge, and myself. So I was anxious to get going, and I wired $175,000 for the down payment of the property, as Elizabeth Keatinge is supposed to get the loan, and Jessica was going to make the mortgage payments. And Jessica and I were eager. And at this time, you see, that's Elizabeth Keatinge right there. See in the bottom left, New York One. So she's a reporter and sometimes an anchor for New York One in New York, which has 7 million viewers. So you see, she's not some scumbag, dirtbag that I knew. Well, I thought. But I knew her, like I said, to have some kind of, I thought, core values and funny. I liked her, although my close circle, my good friends didn't like her, the sophisticated people. Like she once was, I won't get into that. But I liked her. I also knew that she was living paycheck to paycheck, and buying a property in Los Angeles and being part owner, flipping it, there was a way to keep parlaying money and have it grow. That's what I believed. But in the meantime, I started doing my Bitcoin purchases in the evening, and I would get confirmation like from Coinbase, oh, your purchase is being processed, blah, blah, blah. And then the next week, I'd get this thing from Coinbase that my purchase was canceled. And I was like, oh, what a scam. This is a con. Your price goes up and then they cancel your order, blah, blah, blah. That's how stupid I was. I didn't realize that Wells Fargo, my bank, was the one canceling my transactions. So Wells Fargo ended up costing me probably 50 Bitcoins with their cancellations. But that just shows my naivety. But in the day, I started educating myself little by little every day. So I'm getting a better understanding of it. So I got at least 20 of these cancellations. Here's one for 1,000, one for 300, 700, 1,000. But remember, for this $1,000, you got 1.5 Bitcoins at that time. This photo is at my property in Nevada. I believe it was the end of October with Jessica and Elizabeth Keatinge. Elizabeth ended up staying a few days with me. It's on this trip when I really explained Bitcoin to her. And right here at my house in Nevada, I sat her down on my couch and I had her open up another Bitcoin account for me. Hi golly, with my money. I mean, I walked her through bit by bit, showed her on the app how it works, how you purchase it, walked her through very slowly. And the reason I initially did that was because when I was getting those rejection letters, like your purchase was canceled or whatever, I don't have time to sit on the phone for an hour and with Coinbase or whatever and go and file a complaint to see why my purchases were canceled. You know, I'm really busy with my birds. At that particular time, I did not have help. My help was in El Salvador. So it was really hard. I was interviewing different people all the time, and I was struggling, you know, to make everything come together. So having her open up the second account for me also would make my life easier because she could make phone calls that I couldn't, and that's just how I saw it. So the initial account at my house, I PayPal'd her, because she was sitting in my house, and it's in her name. So I PayPal'd her, I think, $475, and then she bought probably $400 on her debit card, and I paid her $75 for doing it, for the account. And then I had the $175,000 for the property I wired to her. I told her to take $5,000 out of that and purchase Bitcoin with that, with the $5,000 for the property, because she has, you know, the loan was going to take a bit. Excuse my voice. I'm suffering from crippling allergies this time of year. It happens every year. But anyways, here's to confirm what I said, except the purchase was $4,000. See right here, she sends me a screenshot, and it says right here, it's hard to blow up, bought $4,000 right there, and then it's the other money, that the 475 or 475 for her, and she says right here, still pending large sale. I wonder if we, I love that, get it at, because that's how I talk, we, never I, like we're a team. That's just the way I talk. If we get it at the price the transaction was initiated or the price when it clears. Of course it's initiated. How do you not know that? And then she says, hopefully when it clears, because today, it's lower. Well, it doesn't work that way, Elizabeth. And then I say, I'm having problems with my account because they canceled some transactions. Okay, see, that was when I didn't understand why Wells Fargo. And know what she says here? It's a common problem. I read articles. Well, good, at least she's figuring out. I say, it's a hassle for me. I don't have time to make those calls and sort all that out. And then I say, I can't buy anymore, do it anymore because it's too much of a hassle with my time. That is why I asked you to do it. Because she has the time and stuff, and she's an employee. And she says, no problem, let you know when it clears. Now look she has every opportunity right here to say, Heidi, I'm expecting 10% of the money, 50% of the money, I'm expecting this, or this is a joint venture. She has all the opportunity to say something like that. Because then I would have made the decision, no, I'm not doing that. I can handle it myself. But she gets paid for doing things for me, and this is just one of those situations like that's happened in the past 16 years. And I also am still believing the property is the way to go. Bitcoin was just something I was experimenting with. This is a screenshot of my account I had already opened, and I was purchasing Bitcoin. This was probably my second or third purchase. And this is an account in my name I already had, not the second account. Here is the $475 payment I PayPal to Elizabeth. $400 went to my Coinbase account for my Bitcoin, and $75 for her doing the transaction. Okay, so in the beginning of these transcripts, you're gonna see her complain how she's really living paycheck to paycheck and broke. And even when we purchased the house, she was nervous because she needed a few months to get going before she will have money. And I say, no problem, Jessica and I will cover that, while you find your job or whatever. And no money, totally broke. In fact, when she registered at Coinbase, she was only allowed $5,000 per week, the lowest amount. And this is why, of course, I see afterwards, she couldn't get the bank loan. I mean, she couldn't even get her own apartment. She had to have someone co-sign for that. So she was just bullshitting me and Jessica about being able to get the bank loan. And here I am thinking that she has good credit, especially with, my $175,000 in her account. She'll be approved for a couple million. So as time went on and she's not getting the loan, I didn't want my money just sitting there, because I was reading more and more, and I started really understanding Bitcoin. And I was instructing her, buy $40,000 worth, buy $50,000 worth, and giving her orders what to do with my money. Remember, at my house, I had showed her how to make these transactions. And since she was limited at Coinbase, I had her go to Gemini, because Gemini, there's no limit. Now, throughout this entire process, the 10 months, never did she learn how to do this efficiently or realize that time is of the essence, because she was focused on stealing from me. So in the beginning of this, she's paycheck to paycheck, really struggling. And at the end, you will see this is the best. She tells me, I'm going to start a YouTube channel. And I say, I was like, great, what about? Get this. She says, financial planning. I'm thinking, oh my God, she has to be the worst ever. But it really goes to show the arrogance. Somehow she thinks she's some financial genius when She had nothing to do with anything here. It's all my money, and she could not follow simple instructions of how to make these purchases immediately. That time is of the essence. Throughout the whole process, she couldn't do it. If she did learn how to do it, why would I want to all my money, be in charge of my money? It's because she was completely inept. That's why I needed to be in charge of my own money and do my own transactions. She was costing me millions of dollars, not just thousands, millions. I mean, it's unbelievable. I'm going to show you how inept she was. I mean, the worst person ever I could have picked to do this. And I mean, still after 10 months, she cannot even figure out how to do instant purchases. Everything takes her a few days, and she has her dating life a priority. You know why? Because it's not her money. She doesn't care. But all of a sudden, look at her. I am going to start a YouTube channel, and I'm puzzled. What's going to be on the channel? Financial news and advice. Oh my God. That is unbelievable. Well, here she is this entire time when Bitcoin, I'm buying it at 600. At this point, it's, I think, 5,000 or 6,000. And she still can't make these instant purchases. And she thinks she's a financial genius. And then all of a sudden, okay, this on the next day or something is when I meet her in Los Angeles, or I met her on that day and asked for control of my money. I told her if she wanted, she can still leave it in her account and under her name, that's fine, but I have to make my own transactions because I'm just losing too much. And that's when she just took off with my money, and all of a sudden, she says, I'll give you your money back, but first I need to consult with my tax person, my financial advisor. She's got all these people. In the beginning, she's broke to, my tax consultant, my financial person, my this person. All of a sudden, oh my God. This photo is while she was dating Ron Jeremy. And I'm going to finish posting the documents over the next week. I'll start posting them little by little so you can read every word. A lot of it might be boring, but you can see what went on here. And it's just flat out stealing. And it's just so low life scumbag what she did. Taking from my birds, my plans for the birds, and moving forward. Her again while she was with Ron. I didn't even know her and Ron were dating till later, when Dennis told me. Ron is a really nice guy, and he felt that she was a little too money hungry or whatever, but he never shared it with me. And I don't know why, I just didn't see that side of her, that she was stealing all along. Oh, God. This is when, in the end, when I knew something was not right and I was pissed. So I'm calling myself an idiot and blah, 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 but I'm really pissed off because it was not adding up. And she says this, look at this. You have $500,000 plus let's keep it growing. Look it. You have $500,000. Well, she was off right then about 300,000 or more. However, at that time, Bitcoin was only a little less than 5,000. And then it went up to 20,000. And I had also purchased an additional 120,000 more. So that puts it well over $2.5 million. This girl is such a low-life scumbag. Excuse my voice, it's just my allergies are killing me. I feel like I'm a lady who smoked cigars for 40 years. That's how my voice feels. And this stuff is really upsetting, so this is kind of a coping mechanism by putting it all out there. And I heard through someone about her husband was going to try and do something to me. So how about this starts by me trying to help her with a property investment, and she ends up stealing my entire life's monies. What a... I'll post all the documents this week, but you get the overview now, I hope, and any questions, please ask.